Steven Avery's attorney, Kathleen Zellner, rips apart the book from Ken Kratz, the former prosecutor. Hi, welcome to Haunted Road Media, and I am Mike Ricksecker. Well, Kathleen Zellner is at it again. She minces no words, and she has totally ripped apart the book from Ken Kratz, the prosecutor who put Steven Avery behind bars for the murder of Teresa Halbach. Or did he commit the murder? That's been the focus of Making a Murderer, and we've been covering that here at Haunted Road Media. So let's get into what Kathleen Zellner is saying about Ken Kratz's book. She has 13 points that she has made that she has torn apart. Now, some of those who have commented on our videos here at Haunted Road Media have mentioned Ken Kratz's book. So let's see what the opposition says about his book. Real quick, Kathleen Zellner says this about Ken Kratz. We're consulting with defamation experts about the viability of a legal claim against Kratz, so they may go after this guy. This guy's off the case, and he's still running around committing defamation against Steven Avery, essentially trying him in the press with even more false evidence. So she's out to get Kratz. Possibly, we'll see if she's able to bring a suit against him. But first, let's see what she says about his book. First of all, the book says on pages 8 and 9, on November 3rd, 2005, Mark Weigert knocked on my door. A young woman named Teresa Halbach had been reported missing that morning. So these are the words of Ken Kratz. According to Kathleen Zellner, Teresa's mother, Karen Halbach, first reported Teresa missing at 2:52 p.m. on November 3rd, 2005. So wrong people here. It's kind of confusing who's the one that actually reported her. Okay, on page 23, this is according to Kratz's book, after phoning Teresa directly to set up the appointment on a 46-degree October 10, Steven Avery answered his door clad in only a small white towel. Creepy, thought Teresa. She told friends and coworkers she didn't want to return. Kathleen Zellner has a few words to say about that too. Mr. Kratz's assertions are false. There's no evidence that 1. This incident occurred on October 10, 2005, 2. Ms. Halbach thought it was creepy, and 3. She told coworkers that she did not want to return. She said, no, that never happened, none of that. No one reported that Ms. Halbach did not want to go back to the Avery property. Another Auto Trader employee, Rachel Higgs, told investigators that Ms. Halbach was not uncomfortable going to the Avery property to take photos, and that Mr. Avery was harmless. On to page 22. This is Kratz again. On October 31st, 2005, Mr. Avery took steps to conceal himself. Unwilling to give his name or phone number to Auto Trader when booking the shoot, he provided B. Janda as a contact name and a telephone number belonging to his sister, Barb Janda. Kathleen Zellner says, Don Pliska, the Auto Trader employee who took Steven Avery's call on October 31st, 2005, informed law enforcement that she guessed at the contact name for the appointment when she typed B. Janda, because the caller was difficult to understand. Not that he told her the appointment was for B. Janda. There's no evidence that Steven Avery told Pliska that the contact name for the appointment was B. Janda. Seems like a little confusion over names or what have you, maybe a caller hard to understand. Seems like everybody's just kind of fuzzy and mixed up on that one. Page 10. When Scott Blodorn called Steven Avery on Thursday, November 3rd, to ask about his appointment with Teresa, Avery said she never showed up. Zellner. Steven Avery never spoke with Teresa's roommate, Scott Blodorn, on November 3rd, 2005, or on any other day. Law enforcement investigated these allegations and determined they were false. So you would have the law, for once, saying something didn't happen, but yet Kratz still has it in his book saying it did. On to page 163, again, this is Ken Kratz. Steven Avery tells Scott Blodorn, Teresa's roommate, that Teresa never showed up for her appointment on October 31st and is upset that he was even contacted in connection with the disappearance. Zellner refutes it. Scott Blodorn called Steven Speckman, not Steven Avery, on November 3rd at 4:10 p.m. On to page 38, again, Ken Kratz. In fact, Avery not only doesn't mention the fire, he he denies even having a burn pit. It eventually allows that he has one, but that nothing had been burned in it for 2 weeks. This is what Kathleen Zellner has to say. Stephen Avery, when asked if any of the garbage in the salvage yard pit was burned in the burn barrels or open pits, replied, "Not in the pit, no." Stephen Avery readily admitted that there were burning barrels in the residential area on the Avery property. Clearly, Mr. Kratz is mischaracterizing Mr. Avery's statement. The Averys did not burn garbage in the business or salvage yard areas of the property. They did, however, burn garbage near their homes. So basically, Avery was more specific about what was being burned and where Kratz kind of lumped it all together and just said, well, Avery said it didn't exist. But then led on later, oh yeah, maybe it does exist. Page 108. Kratz again. Without Brendan's statement as to where the murder occurred, the police would never have gotten a search warrant and found that bullet. Oh, here we go. Brendan Dassey's testimony getting thrown into it. You know, Zellner's got a few things to say about that. According to Kathleen Zellner, the magic bullets were magically, I like how she's using magic here. Magic bullets were magically found during a search on March 1st, 2006, after Brendan's confession. However, law enforcement had previously searched the garage 5 times between November 5th and November 12th, 2005. So think about this. They searched the garage numbers of times during November, didn't come across anything. Months later, after Brendan's confession, then they found the bullet. Mr. Kratz is correct in saying that law enforcement would not have found the damaged bullet if not for the March 1st, 2006 coerced statements, she makes note, coerced statements, of Mr. Dassey. Most importantly, Brendan's statements about where the murder occurred are entirely inconsistent. It's true. The Seventh Circuit Court opinion stated that there were clear efforts by the interrogators to have Dassey move all of the events to the garage, as no forensic evidence was found in Avery's trailer. So basically, as they were not finding the evidence in the trailer because it didn't exist, you know, there's no blood, none of the, you know, artifacts of, like, you know, rope, whatever, the things that Dassey said happened in the trailer, none of that was being found, so they were getting him to move that out into the garage where, well, they found something March 1st. The little piece of bullet. Pages 164 to 165. Kratz. Beginning 6 years after the trial in January 2013, Stephen Avery and I exchanged a series of letters. He knew that I was no longer a DA and no longer represented by the state, and he invited me to visit him at the prison in Boscobel, Wisconsin. Zellner again refutes. The record is clear that Mr. Kratz wrote to Mr. Avery first, with a letter dated January 14th, 2013. In fact, Mr. Kratz has not produced any correspondence from Stephen Avery wherein Stephen invited Mr. Kratz to visit him. Rather, Mr. Kratz invited himself, with the intention later revealed in his letter dated September 6, 2015, of writing a book about Stephen. So that's a number of ways in which Kathleen Zellner has refuted the book by Ken Kratz, 13 points that she has brought out there. Also, some statistics from Ken Kratz's books as of, you know, this writing. Kratz's Avery book was averaging 2.4 stars out of 5 stars, with 60% of his book reviews on Amazon giving Kratz a 1-star rating. So his book isn't doing too well either, at least as far as the ratings are concerned. One other note, Kathleen Zellner has put out a proof of guilt challenge, and you could win $10,000 from her. You want to know how? Okay, well, it's kind of interesting. This is what she says. We are so convinced that you will fail at answering the following 100 questions, got a whole laundry list of questions, that we will offer an award of $10,000 to anyone who fully answers all 100 questions based on credible evidence that establishes Mr. Avery's guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. So, if you go through their list of 100 questions and you're able to totally refute or answer however they're going to do that, I haven't read all the questions, you could win $10,000 from Kathleen Zellner. Good luck. Until more news comes out, this is Mike Ricksecker, Honda Road Media. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Until next time.